Hello. Hi. It's been a long time since I last made a YouTube video. Some of you guys might know me as how this YouTube channel first started, which was Anna Dolly. Some of you guys might know me as ex New York to Paris. Some of y'all might know me as ex Charles, and some of y'all might know me as Charles Stewart. For those who don't know me, my name is X Charles, also known as Charles Stewart. I am navigating through my life. I'm learning about myself and exploring who I am as a person. And currently in my life stage, I am going through the biggest challenge, the biggest hurdle of my life. I'm getting divorced at 30 years old, and there's a lot of trauma behind it, a lot of manipulation, lies, and a lot of cheating behind this marriage. And this is me healing out loud. Let me just start this video. I don't even know how to do this because I don't even have a script, but let me just start this video with the most important thing is that the goal of this video is to not slander my ex in any way. Of course, he might have done some shit to me. I probably have done my shit as well. But this video is just me sharing my experience, how I navigate through the biggest hurdle of my life. And I really want to share this story because I want whoever that is going through this or have gone through this or gone through something similar or is going to go through something like this, that they know that this journey is going to be difficult, but they know that they are not alone. Because when I was going through this hard time of my life, I wish I had somebody to relate to. I wish I had somebody who has gone through something similar, or I knew somebody who has gone through similar, because I felt very, very alone. So whatever I'm going to share is based on my own experience, and it's really not to shame this person, and he might have made decisions that hurt me and betrayed me, but I still respect him as a person and as a human being, and I still treasure and respect that the memories that I had with him as well. But also, this is not just about the divorce. It's really not just about it. It's mostly everything that I've been through in my life, in my past, that has brought me here. And I feel like it's important to talk about it as well, because I realize how deeply my past has made me to who I am today, that made me make certain choices that were not as healthy as intended. Let me just start from the very beginning. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. It might be 3 parts, I don't know, but let me start from the very beginning. So for a little bit of a context, I'm a very, very lover girl. I love love from a very young age. I've always wanted to be, I've always thought about marriage. I always like tell my sisters, I'm gonna get married at like 22. I'm gonna have kids. I'm gonna be meeting my husband and all that. It has always been a dream and always my fairy tale since a very, very young age. I always dated to marry, even from a young age. And I even had my first relationship when I was 13 years old, which is probably not the best idea as well. But I really, really had this strong desire to be loved. I don't know where that came from, but I always had this strong desire to be wanted, to be desired, to be loved. And I think that also made me so desperate to be loved that I fell into very dangerous territory from a very, very young age. Um, why I'm gonna talk about my past is that everything, like I said in the beginning, the divorce is just like the cherry on top of everything else that I've been through, because all my relationships were bad. Mostly all my relationships were bad. And it has really made me realize that I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of inner work to do. I have a lot of self-reflection to do, a lot of self-love that I really need to give to myself this time. I won't go into so much details of my past relationships, but I don't think anybody even knows about this. Not even my family members know about this, because I was very young. I was young and I was dumb. I was easy to manipulate. I was easy to be taken advantage of, and I didn't tell anybody because I didn't know who to tell, and I was really, really very embarrassed. But I went through a lot of abuse. I went through physical abuse. I went through lots of emotional abuse, a lot of toxic manipulation, a lot of taken advantage of. I was treated like a literal trash and filth. I was treated just like an object that when they wanted me, they would have me. And once they were done, I was thrown. So imagine every single relationship where I was being controlled. I was not allowed to do so many things. I was not allowed to have friends. I was not allowed to go out. I was not allowed to be myself. And I was being abused, I was being emotionally abused, I was being called names, I was being called every single word out there. I was being degraded. I was being, as a very young girl, from the age of 13 and above, that had a lot of damage to my self esteem and my self perception of myself. And that made me think that I didn't have a lot of worth in me. So that brings me back to where I was 4 years ago, where I met. I'm going to call him a fake name. I'm going to call him Jake, my ex husband. So at the time when met Jake for the first time, let's talk about the good things first. I met Jake when I was the bridesmaid for my friend's wedding. He was the groomsman for his friend. So it was actually a really cute story to talk about, because I was a bridesmaid, he was a groomsman. We met, and at that time, I was in a very shaky relationship because I was at the age where I was ready to settle down. I was ready to get married. I was ready to have kids. I want that life for myself. And when I was in that relationship, he wasn't giving me that. He wasn't ready. He wasn't at the stage of his life where he was ready to take the next step. And I remember being very, very tight in that relationship because I always had to tell him what to do and what I wanted, but he wasn't giving me what I wanted. I just feel like I couldn't receive the love that he was giving. It was just incompatible. I was in a relationship when I first met Jake, but I was in a very shaky one where I was really mentally out of the relationship. I just didn't know how to get out because I knew he's going to threaten me. I knew he's going to make a big scene, and I was scared. With Jake was also seeing someone at that time. He was dating someone at that time. So we saw each other, and I was like, he's going to be my husband one day, because he showed me potential. I was like, this is great potential for my future husband. I want that. I want that because he was so sociable. He was the center of attraction. He was very nice. He showed really good leadership skills and very alpha like, which is something that I was very attracted to. So we started off as friends. We DM each other. We talk sometimes, and whenever he needed like some comfort as a friend, I would be there. Until I got out of my relationship and I started talking to him more, and we started going out as friends and whatnot. And after a while, like, feelings did develop, obviously. And we were at a very confused. He was giving me a lot of mixed signals because he would say that we are just friends and we are nothing more. But he would kiss me. He would say that I look cute, and it was just very, very mixed signals. And I didn't like that, so I kept asking him like, "What are we?" Because I need to know. I'm not gonna do this wishy-washy thing. And then again, he would say, "Oh, we're just friends." Yada yada yada. I remember having a conversation with him where he said that he didn't want to commit right now because he's very scared of hurting me in the future. And this is a lesson that I've learned today. If a guy tells you that he is afraid of hurting you, 99.9% he's probably gonna hurt you. And I didn't know he's gonna hurt me that, but boy, he really did. So he couldn't make the decision. So I said, you know what, the chemistry was there, the vibes were there. We get along really well. Like the way we talk, the way we communicated, the interest that we had, we were all very similar. It was almost too good to be true. I've never had that chemistry with anyone ever, as much as I did with him. I felt like myself. I could feel safe around him. I could feel like don't have to hide who I am as a person. So I made a decision that, you know what, like, I really want you. If you want to do this, let's do this. If you think you're going to hurt me in the future, we're going to talk about that later on. But I'm here. Let's just do it. So we agreed. So we started dating, and then from the dating process became into a relationship process, and everything was good. We hardly argued. We really got along. Like I said, like, it felt like he was my best friend because I could talk to him about anything. He could talk to me about anything. He understands me. Our sense of humor was the same. In my mind, this is perfect because no guy has ever been like that to me before. I've never met any guy like him before, and I've never felt like in a healthy relationship before, you know, because all my relationships were like so shit that he was like top tier, you know. But through our relationship, we did have arguments here and there, which was just it was just things that I didn't like. For example, he would do things that I wasn't comfortable with. For example, liking a girl's pictures, following random girls, and we will always argue about the same thing over and over again. He didn't understand the concept of me thinking that, when you like a girl's pictures, it makes me feel upset, it makes me feel uncomfortable, because to me, a like is not a like. And for some people or some guys, they just can't grasp the concept, because to some guys it just might be a like, but to me, I have a boundary and I didn't like it. So he did show, that he was sorry, and then he apologized and he stopped doing it. So things got better after that, after we communicated. But I did remember there's one time that I found something really upsetting that I didn't know at the time what it was. It was this, I don't know, even know, and still I don't even know what it was. It was this Locanto thing where I don't remember how I even found it. I happened to see his phone because it was unlocked or something. It was years ago where we were still in a relationship, and it was like, about a massage or something like that. And at that time, I trusted him so much, I didn't even think much about it. But when I confronted him about it, he was saying to me that, he wanted to look for a couple's massage together, he's really sorry. And the way that he apologized to me, and the way that he showed me how much he treasured this relationship, because he was crying and crying and being so sorry for his actions, really made me believe him. And at that time, I trusted him so much that I didn't look deeper and further into what this information even is. So I was like, okay. So everything was fine. And then he decided that he wanted to get married to me. And he proposed, and I said yes. And then we got married. So I am a type of person where I'm a supporter. Like, if my husband is low in whatever, emotionally, financially, mentally, I will be there. If he is at a 20, I will be, at a 80. So throughout our relationship and marriage, there were times that he would be financially down and I would support him. So I would even give him money at times, because he was going through a change in like jobs and whatnot. So I didn't ask any money for him, even though in your religion as a Muslim, your husband is supposed to give you this thing called nafka, which is like your monthly allowance. But I didn't ask for that because I understood that he was not financially stable enough to provide for me yet, and I wanted to support him, because even if you had nothing, I love you and I support you. We first started our marriage by staying at his parents' place together with his family, and I love his family. His family is so nice. They took care of me. They're lovely people, and it was a great time with them. So this is the first thing that went wrong. The first time that I found out he did something really, really bad. This was the start of a lot of issues. So just for context, Jake and he treated me well. Although he was not financially there, he treated me well. He was always listening to me. He was always taking care of me when I was sick. He was always being there for me as a good husband would. So I was very close to my mom, and at that time, my mom was really sick and she passed away. So when my mom passed, I was going through a lot. Just for a little context, I suffered a lot with food and eating, because I was always a very chubby girl when I was young. I would get bullied because I was chubby, and I didn't have a healthy relationship with food, and I would go through means such as starving myself and not eating and running around the house just to lose weight, and don't eat and starve myself because I didn't want to gain that weight. I would sit in the toilet during lunch because I didn't want to eat, and I became very, very skinny. And even when I was skinny, I was being bullied for it, and even my dad was telling me that I look fat even though when I was skinny. And when my and I opened up to Jake about this as well, about my past. And when I got married to him, I wasn't a skinny girl as well. I was still a bit more on the heavier side. And after we got married, obviously I was happy and I started to eat a lot and I gained weight. I'm the kind of person that I would gain weight really, really fast. And I'm telling this story because it will make sense to the story later on why I have to share about this. So when my mom passed, I went through a difficult time, obviously. And I went through unhealthy habits of just eating and eating a lot and indulging myself in food and sweet drinks because that was my way of coping. And obviously, I gained weight. And this will all make sense why I had to bring it up in the story later on. I was devastated, of course. Devastated beyond belief because I was so close to her and I love her so, so much. And I was really happy that I had a husband at that time because if I didn't have a husband, I wouldn't have able to survive the grief and the pain that I went through. But I did remember this was the first time I felt a little bit of a disconnect because I was going through so much pain. And I was glad that I had a husband to, lean on because I was going through so much pain and all I wanted was support from him. And I just remember that he was kind of like disconnected away from me, but I always give an excuse of, maybe he's stressed, maybe he's busy, he is doing a lot of work, he's tired, and whatever not, because I just didn't want to burden him or disturb him. But there was a time where I had a panic attack at home because I developed panic attacks ever since my mom passed. Because whenever I were to go to places where I used to go with my mom, I would have panic attacks. And there was this incident where I had a panic attack at home and I didn't know how to deal with it. And he was at home with me as well. He came up to me, he was trying to comfort me. But instead of calming me down and, being there for me, he used his phone instead. And I got really, really angry because at least be present with me because I was going through a lot. And I think I downplayed how bad how bad it was. I didn't really express to him how much pain I was in. I would randomly cry on many, many nights and he would be there. But there were nights where I was crying myself to sleep that he didn't know. There were nights where I, was thinking about it and he didn't know. But then again, it was also because I didn't want to burden him. But then again, it's also because I didn't feel like he was going to be there to support me. What I had to go through was already hard enough until the first time he did something really, really wrong. Okay, so I was staying in the same room with him. And I realized he would spend a lot of time in the toilet and even longer than how I would spend my time. And I shower really, really long. I have long hair and I'm a girl, And he would spend like a very suspicious amount of time in the toilet. Even when I'm at home, I'm outside in the toilet waiting for him. And it's not just like one instance, It was a few instances. And I was like, it's kind of weird, right? So I decided that I wanted to pretend to take something in the toilet while he was in the toilet. He would say he's like, doing the business and he was, whatever. So I went in and it just so happened his phone was there unlocked. I took a peep on his phone really quickly and within a few minutes of that scary moment, I wanted to see what he was looking at because I thought he was watching porn, right? And I don't know how some people might feel about, your husband or your wife watching porn. But to me, that felt really disrespectful. Because if you want to, watch porn or if you want to masturbate and you have needs and whatnot, don't do it when I'm in the room. Don't do it when your wife is literally right there. So that was what I thought he was doing. But it was worse. I didn't find porn. I found something worse. I saw that he was looking at websites. I didn't know what it was, so I had to ask my friend because there was some VPN websites as well. So I confronted him and I told him, if you're doing like if you have your needs and everything, it's not nice. It's very disrespectful for me when I'm literally in the room. If you need to do what you need to do, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you. Even though I might not like it because I feel like that's wrong in the first place. But at least if you have no choice, do it when I'm not there, you know? So everything like he understood and we settled it. I didn't tell him that I saw what I saw because I couldn't make sense out of it. I didn't know what it was. So to my dismay, I found out eventually that he was actually looking at prostitute websites for services from women, paid services from women. And I didn't know if he had done it already. I only saw that he was looking. I didn't know if he did anything, like any service at all. And I had to face that decision in my mind, and it was mentally torturing because I remember that one week I was at work. I couldn't focus. I couldn't eat. I was just anxious. I was like, my whole world spin because, like, here am I in my perfect marriage, right? Do I want to know if he did something? Do I not want to know? Do I want to live in a lie? Do I want to ask him? Do I want to continue being ignorant? I didn't know because a relationship is very different than a marriage. If this was a relationship, I would have told myself, leave. Seeing it was enough. But marriage is different because you invested your time, you invested your emotions, you made a vow to this person. You want to be that supportive, that loyal wife because you love this person so much. So I finally made a decision that I don't want to live in a lie. I want to know if he did it or not. Whether he did it or not, I'll make my own decision after I find out. I'm gonna stop the story right here. So in the next story, in the next part, I'm so sorry this video is very long, but in the next part, I will share whether he did it or not, and that will be in part 2. So thank you for watching. If you watched it all the way here, I'm gonna cut it to do a second part of the video because this is taking longer than expected. So if you want to know more, please subscribe to the channel on your notification button so that you know when I post next. Leave a comment below for any questions that you might have, any thoughts, any first thoughts after hearing this story, and I will maybe address it in the next video. Thank you.